I'm Roger Myers. I'm the chair of the board of directors of JCATI. Been part of the group since day one, since our first meeting way back years ago. And I thought it would be helpful for many of you to spend a little bit of time, not too long, looking at some of our metrics and what we're trying to accomplish, be reminded of what we're trying to accomplish, so that in particular the PIs and the students, as you think about things that you want to propose or that you want to work on and maybe get some JCATI support, you'll understand where JCATI is coming from in our focus. Because JCATI is, while it's great to get $1.5 million, $1.2 million for research, and then it takes a little bit of money to support the Beth and Mehran and this event. It's great to get that money from the state. The state gives us that money with an expectation. And we need to make sure that we're accomplishing or striving to accomplish what they need us to do, the reason that we're meeting their goals. So I wanted to spend a little bit of time about that. And first, I want to remind us what our mission is, and that is to work with universities and their industry partners to transition technologies from the state universities to industry. Our job at JCATI is to facilitate that transition. That's what we're trying to do. Because what the state wants to do is to create more, to keep our aerospace industry competitive and to continue to grow our aerospace industry within the state. So that's our mission. And that means that when we look at proposals and projects and reports, we always focus on, are we accomplishing our mission? So in industry collaboration, there are lots of fantastic innovations at the universities that can be transitioned to industry. Transition is a hard thing to do, though, and we'll talk a little bit about what we're looking for at JCATI when we say the word transition innovation. What we try to provide is a way for companies, and this meeting has been great because I've seen a lot of companies engaging with universities and with the students on key problems of interest, and that's a two-way communication problem. The universities and students need to know what the problems are that the companies are facing and what their strategic directions are. And likewise, the companies need to know what kind of innovations the universities are working on. So it's a two-way communication, and that's why we have this symposium. Thank you all for being here. We want to give companies of all sizes the opportunity to grow, and we provide funding to facilitate the transition. It's really important to remember that our customer is industry. We're trying to maintain and strengthen the aerospace industry in Washington State, okay? And we've established some metrics, and I'll talk about those, and Beth talked about those right at the beginning a little bit. But you can see the breadth of companies that are partnered with the universities. And frankly, we'd like this to grow, this list to grow. We want to foster as much collaboration between universities and industries and companies as we can. So it's a great list. Beth, you mentioned, I think, 51 companies over the last 4 years. It's great. We want it to be even more. Our achievements, Beth mentioned some of these. We've actually transitioned 15 technologies. So we've done 80 projects, and we've transitioned 15. That's not bad, but we'd like it to be better, right? We've filed 20 patents, so 20 patents have come out of JCATI-funded work. That's great. Faculty and universities have leveraged JCATI funding to get $6 million of non-JCATI funding. That's fantastic. That's really good. And lots of students. We've had the great student pitch competition. That's wonderful, and we've also had 2 startup companies. So this is really good, but in particular, that first bullet up there, 15 projects transitioned, we'd like to see that bigger, a larger number of technologies transitioned. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how we want to work with you, with the faculty and with the industry partners to try to improve that, that track record, that focus on transition. So we see, the way we look at this is we really see three phases of any technology development. There's basic research and initial development, then there's focused development and maybe some initial production, and then there's a complete transition where industry has really taken it over, a company has taken it over, and they're creating products and selling those products to the marketplace and growing their business. JCATI is focused on the middle and a little bit of the TRL 6 to 9. Does everybody know what a technology readiness level is? Raise your hand. Yes? Okay, good. So we are not, JCATI doesn't fund basic research. That's not the goal of JCATI. We love basic research. I certainly have spent a lot of my life doing basic research. It's great stuff, but that's not the goal of JCATI, right? JCATI does focused development, initial transition, and works with their industry partner to complete the transition to industry, okay? So programs in JCATI must have a plan that engages the industry partner in completing the development and transitioning the technology so that the company is positioned to take over if the project is successful, okay? Now, we recognize that in any technology transition effort, a lot of them are going to fail. Technology is hard. I spent my career doing technology development and transition. And I was actually pretty good at it, and I batted about 60%, right? Which is not bad, not fantastic, but because technology is hard. You don't know if something's going to work at the beginning when you start a project. But I found in my experience that it was critical to start a project with the idea that this was going to transition and to have a plan for how I was going to work with my industry partner and pass the technology on to them. What is the mechanism? Define the mechanism. Is it a license? Is it just giving it to them? Is it having them hire my students? Whatever it was, having that plan ahead of time as part of my program plan or my proposal is a very important aspect, in particular for JCATI programs. It's really important to remember that we get asked, the board, Beth, Mehran, we get asked to report to the state on those metrics. And if we aren't successful, the state will stop funding, right? So I'm asking all the PIs, we are asking all the PIs to think about this challenge and make sure to help Beth, Mehran, myself, and the board, the rest of the board, have positive results to share with the people that provide us with the funding to support your really good work. So, what is a successful transition plan? It's got to engage the industry partner from the start to define their needs and how the industry partner will use the technology. It should have defined milestones and objectives and a realistic schedule that involves both the university and the industry partner so that you can show that handoff process, okay? And it should result, after whatever time frame is correct for the particular project, in the industry partner taking over the effort, right? So that the principal investigator at the university can go move on to other things. So this is what we see, when we're looking at proposals or at your reports. This is what JCATI needs to see more of. We'd like, to continue to be able to support your work. Frankly, we want to go to the state with such great news that they can grow our budgets. And then we can support even more work at the great universities and with the great PIs that we have. So we want to be able to do that. And to do that, we ask for your help in having strong transition plans so that then we can go with the metrics back to the legislature and say, look at the great thing. Look at how JCATI has strengthened the aerospace industry in Washington State. So from a future directions, we really want to work with you all to improve the transition planning. We want to continue to grow that list of companies, which is great now, but we want to continue to grow that list of companies that are participating in the program, and also departments, university departments, and different schools. We'd like to see more participation in JCATI programs. We right now have programs, as Beth mentioned, in three universities. We'd like to see the other 3 state-funded universities participate in some way. We want to identify new areas for aerospace impact. In fact, John Hamilton, where is he? Just gave the presentation on Boeing. He talked about a major improvement in efficiency being the way traffic is managed at airports. So maybe there are some innovations that can be brought to bear in that area, okay? That would help Washington State aerospace industry. And we're also focused on expanding our base funding through donations. So those are the major areas that we're going to focus on. And we see the first one tied to the last one because our budget is going to be sensitive to how successful we are in achieving our mission. So if you have any questions about how to do a good transition plan, talk to us. Okay? We want to help you be successful in developing and taking university innovations and strengthening and growing the Washington State aerospace industry. Thank you.